just stop and realize some of the foolishness you've been associated with? I tell groups of people, every one of us, no matter how young you are, has already done something in your life you never want anybody to know you did. But, you know, in a fraternity, because the fraternity people get together, we get together, we're like the water buffaloes from the Flintstones. We get together, put our fancy hats on, and tell stories. If she and I were in the same fraternity, we get together and start talking about all the cute stuff, and, oh, Fred, so-and-so, man, remember Fred. Then the story gets bigger and bigger. About when your story's going to be bigger and bigger. You didn't go to the national conference this year, but 2 years now you went live and said you were there. Oh, Fred, remember, man, we was in Charlotte, North Carolina. No, man, that was Gainesville. Charlotte, Gainesville. Okay, man, Charlotte. Remember you jumped off that couch into the pool from the 8th floor? And you like, hell yeah. And that's okay if you did it and survived. But how often do we talk about the stuff that makes a real difference in who we are as an organization? It's just like we sell our parties and act surprised and everybody shows up. We don't put as much energy into an educational program and act surprised people don't show up. As a speaker, a fraternity brought me to speak, and it was the weirdest speaking engagement. They had me in the middle of the mall. People walking around. I'm getting dizzy. Because you know, you people sitting in the chair, everybody, people just walking around. Some folks looking at you. And I'm looking at the guy, the chapel president, like, what you do to me? Man, we thought this video were you in the mall, but they moving. She trying to catch that sale for the snowblower. She not stopping for me. She got her kids with her daughter crying. She telling her daughter to stay right here. What do we do? What makes your group special? Let me go back to that. They gave me those 3 intros. What makes your group special? What makes your group special? Y'all get quiet. Y'all in special groups.
If my organization really did what we were supposed to do, what would make us special, the things that we would do for the community to help those around us and to better ourselves as far as academic and scholarships and stuff.
Anybody else? What makes your group special?
I just recently joined my 2 months ago, and
how long ago?
About 2 months ago.
I thought you said 2 minutes ago. I was like, you just walked on in.
Actually, and about 3 weeks after I joined, I decided to run for student body president, and I didn't know any of the girls, and every single one of them did so much work for me to help me with my elections.
And let me tell the young people in the room too, you will make some friends for life. Yeah. And for me, that's been the main thing, because I'm a people person. There are some friends who I do share personal stuff with, because I think this is the group where I say it. I tell them I have a fraternal relationship, not a personal one. Yeah. But there are some people in my fraternity who are my best friends. And that's one of the beauties of what you do. Now, all these fools I've met is like, I'm scared to shake their hands because they're going to steal my ring. You know, I don't know. Because, you know, I'm one of those people, you know how sometimes in some of the MPAC groups, people think they can take your stuff. You know, if you got a jacket sitting out, a hat sitting out, a pallet. I'm like, no. We had a national conference when I was in Champaign, Illinois, and some guys came to my house, and I told them, if you take something from my house, you're going to jail. That's stealing. That's stealing. Because we fall into some of the same foolishness again that permeates through our neighborhoods. How many of you heard people say that snitches get stitches? It is not, I speak from jail sometimes too, it is not my job to protect criminals. I tell criminals, if you want me to protect you, you need to be a better criminal. Don't commit your crime in front of me. But you can't be part of protecting criminals, which is what we do by when we let people hurt people and we don't stand up. You've aided and abetted. That's why somebody earlier was saying that they taking our stuff. They suing us individually now. Lawyers don't care. We were talking earlier about the lawyers don't care now. It's about lawyering. Lawyers don't care. It used to be they would just sue the organization. They realized the organization like, look, it was him. And now the organization putting you on Front Street, they got you on the website with your picture. Bad brother. I was talking about lawyering, I was telling them earlier, and I get in trouble. This is a slight diversion, but this is what I talk about. I get in trouble because lawyers have taken every little kernel and just kind of blown it up. So now you get a divorce and the lawyers get involved. Juanita Jordan got $162 million in her divorce from Michael Jordan. Now, last time I checked, Juanita ain't got no jumpers. Ain't sold no shoes. 162 million is a little high. Now, you had 3 or 4 little Jordans. Not 162 million. Well, I've got to stay in the lifestyle I've grown accustomed to. Well, Adrian, if you in that lifestyle because of me, and you leave, I'm serious. But America has gone crazy. At some point in the next 10 years, one of the NPAC organizations is going to get sued out of business. Oh yeah, I know we're almost there. We're all one lawsuit away. Iowa's not even a lawsuit away. We're at they filed the paperwork. And we go on it, oh damn, how much they gonna want? No. We're gonna change the colors to orange and blue and act like a lion now. We want to wait. Some of your groups been sued so many times, the lawyers know who to call. Can I take a picture of Rashid Crown? Jack Johnson, Johnson & Johnson. Damn Q's again. They still throwing couches off the roof. I used to be the advisor to the Q's. Any Q's in here? I used to be the advisor to the Q's. And they were such an interesting organization. I used to tell the undergrads, y'all the only organization I know that lived down to your reputation. The Q's have been banned in some states. Yeah. In the name of, and the older members of Omega Psi Phi will tell you they're Omega men, they are not Q dogs. They will, you want to start fighting with an old man? You call an elder in that community a dog. And he ready to go dog upside your head. Affirmation. Action. Affirmation. Action. Affirmation. Action. A couple more things and I'll let you all out of here. 4 things when you successful people, successful organizations do. One, they dream big dreams. When I asked you all earlier, what would you do if failure wasn't an option? A lot of y'all gave me real small stuff. I asked a group of high school students, what would they do if failure wasn't an option? One of them said he wanted a $35,000 a year job. His world was so small, $35,000 seemed like a whole lot of money. I grew up on $4,000 a year on welfare, so $35,000 did seem like a lot of money to me until I had it. Because if you make 35, you're spending 50. Yeah. Unfortunately, that's human nature for most of us. But part of your responsibility is to help kids dream with their eyes open. Everything we experienced in 2008 was once deemed impossible. Look at us. We're in Orlando, Florida, Disney property, in some fancy hotel that you can get an Olympic medal if you figure out how to walk around this whole thing. I looked at the map and got scared. I did. The man told us last night, he said, well, y'all only about 3-4 minutes away, but you know, maps you need to see. I'm like, yeah, that's them country 3-4 minutes away. I saw some students last night, looked like they was in the old movie, The 10 Commandments, walking across that desert with boats. They rode up on our ride like, can we get around? He was like, no, I'm sorry, I'm just taking some guests to their room. Can we get some water? All of this was once deemed impossible, but we're here. These shoes we wearing, what no shoes? These hairdos y'all bought, what no hair? They at your own. These clothes we wearing, they wasn't there. These, have you noticed too, everything causes cancer? At some point they're going to say these chairs y'all sitting on, ain't no cancer. Everything causes cancer. cancer people get paid. The cancer people get, I think it was Martin Lawrence or one comedian, no, Chris Rock said, the money is not in the medicine, it's in the cure. Nobody's fixing nobody. Jerry Lewis been doing his telethon my whole life. Yeah, and I ain't mad at Jerry. I used to watch his telethon. I used to sit there like it was must-see TV. But you haven't had one kid in that whole time stand up and say, thanks, Jerry, for saving me. And that don't mean that the research isn't good. It's just that there are some people who can walk on the moon. That's why I have trouble believing we can't find Bin Laden. We can look up at a telescope and decide that Pluto is no longer a planet. But we can't find a man somewhere on this planet. And you know Bin Laden had no black friends, but you would have told on Ben a long time. But the kind of money on Bin Laden. Is this the government? This potential threat, I can't give my real name. This potential threat, Bin Laden's at the keynote. Bin Laden's at the keynote. He is the keynote. We can't find that man all the time. Seriously, come on. Come on. Secondly, be inner-driven. Dream big dreams, but then be inner-driven. Don't be afraid to go against the flow. If you go where everybody else goes, you get where everybody else got. Your groups are special because at some point or another, each one of those groups stood up and said, we here. And here's what we're going to do being here. Who said they had 36 people? Somebody earlier had 30. We here. That movie 300, I don't watch it because I don't do violence, but I understand the concept. It's 300 of us bringing. We're not going to win, but you will know you had a fight. If I could take this group of people, I could change your canvas. You don't need everybody. You need the right bodies. We keep thinking, one, we add people just because we don't want to die out. But all you've done in most cases is kill your group anyway, or it just extends the death. Instead of just dying, you die slow death. You just eat away at the soul of the group. Sometimes you go back to your campus and you look at the members and you're like, oh, what has happened to my organization? Who are these young men or young women? Thirdly, dedicate your life to lifelong learning. Leaders read. Very few Americans actually read a book of their own choosing after high school. The jails are full of people who didn't know the sign says surveillance camera. Security dog on duty. I say that, but I don't say that in jest. The jails are full of people who can't read. It's true. Leaders read. If your CD collection stays bigger than your book collection, at some point you may have issues. Leaders read. Finally, leaders refuse to fail. All these issues we're talking about, they're not going away overnight, but some of us will stand the battle and keep on trying to fight. Some of us will fight in a different way. I don't know how long. I say this and keep my brothers get mad at me, but at some point when you get close to, I'll be 50 in July, you got to make a decision about how you spend your quality time. I can keep messing with a group of folks who some of them want to play, some of them don't, but the ones who do want to play, they scared of the ones who don't. So they be real quiet, the ones, isn't it amazing that the fools scream the loudest? The fools will get up on the rooftop and just start screaming. Then they have a step show and they have CNN right there taking the show. You out there trying to do right, but nobody hear you just screaming. Did y'all ever see the movie The Ten Commandments? I mentioned that earlier. One of my favorite movies of all time. I just thought it was such a classic movie. Power dynamic. When a man can forever stricken your name from the records, Steve's name will forever be stricken from the records. So it shall be written. So it shall be done. I was sitting at home as a kid like, dang. Did he say, so it shall be written, so it shall be done, and it's done? That was powerful. And then when I think of my fraternity life, I think of what is